Commander Lisa Hayes stood in the huge hall of the Intergalactic Academy on Space Station Kepler 9. She watched the graduation ceremony with careful eyes. All around her, different alien species celebrated their young students. The Velcrin clicked their jaws in happy sounds. The Thorsians sang their old songs. The Nepheri glowed with bright colors that showed their pride. But when the human graduates walked across the stage, every alien went quiet. It happened every single time. Lisa saw the same looks on their faces, fear mixed with curiosity, like watching something dangerous but interesting. Lisa remembered 3 years ago when she had been one of those graduates. She remembered the whispers in the hallways. Other students stayed away from humans. Teachers looked surprised when human students finished hard tests that tested their bodies. It was strange being the odd one out. Now Lisa worked as a junior officer in Earth's diplomatic team. Her job today was simple: watch the ceremony and write a report. Nothing special, but then something happened that changed everything. A young Velcrin scientist walked up to her after the ceremony ended. His name was Zithkara. His big bug-like eyes reflected the station's lights. He told Lisa he studied biology and planets. He specialized in alien life forms and how to classify different worlds. "Commander Hayes," he said. His translator device turned his clicking sounds into smooth English words. "I have studied your species for 6 cycles now. I have a question that troubles me greatly." Lisa smiled in a polite way. She had heard every possible question about human bodies and Earth. Aliens always ask the same things. "Please ask your question." "Your world is classified as a Class 12 death world," Zithkara began. His voice sounded serious. "The death rate for non-native species trying to live on such worlds is 99.97% in the first year. Your gravity crushes most species' bones. Your air has too much oxygen, and it is poison to 73% of all intelligent life we know. Your predators are many and very good at killing. Your diseases change and adapt faster than anything we have seen." "Yes, Earth is quite dangerous," Lisa agreed. She had given this talk many times before. "We have taken many steps to make sure that visiting species stay safe when they come to Earth." "No, Commander. You do not understand my question." Zithkara leaned closer. His voice became quieter. "If death worlds kill all who live on them, as the Council's own science books say, then why does Earth still send graduates? Why are you not all dead?" The question hung in the air between them. Nobody spoke for a moment. It was the forbidden question. The one that made Council diplomats feel uncomfortable. The one that Earth's own ambassadors had been told to avoid and redirect for 3 decades. Nobody was supposed to ask it out loud. Lisa felt something change inside her. She had always followed the rules. She had always been the perfect officer. But standing there, looking at this alien scientist who had the courage to ask what everyone else only whispered about, she made a choice. "That," she said quietly, "is exactly the right question to ask." Zithkara's antenna quivered. "You will answer it." "Not here, not now." "But yes, I think it is time someone did." Lisa did not know that her words had been heard by someone else. A human named Kellen Price worked for the Council's Security Division. He was a Thorsian intelligence operative, though he was human by birth. Kellen had very different ideas about what truths should be shared with the galaxy. He thought some secrets were better kept hidden. Within a few hours, Lisa received a classified message on her personal device. It summoned her to a meeting with the Council's Oversight Committee. The message was short and formal, but Lisa understood what it meant. Some questions were too dangerous to answer. Some truths were meant to stay buried. But Lisa Hayes had never been good at leaving questions unanswered. Even as a child on Earth, she had always asked why. Why did things work the way they did? Why did people follow certain rules? Why was the sky blue and the ocean deep? Her teachers had encouraged her curiosity. They said asking questions was how humans learned and grew. They said that every great discovery started with someone brave enough to ask a difficult question. Now she stood at a crossroads. She could follow orders and stay quiet, keep her career safe, avoid making trouble, or she could pursue the truth no matter where it led or who it made uncomfortable. Lisa looked at Zithkara's hopeful face. She saw genuine scientific curiosity there. Not fear, not prejudice, just the simple desire to understand something that did not make sense according to everything he had been taught. "Meet me tomorrow," Lisa said. "I will start gathering information. If we are going to answer your question properly, we need data. We need facts." We need to show the council that this is not about politics or power. This is about science and truth. Zithkara's eyes brightened. You are serious about this? Very serious, Lisa confirmed. But you need to understand something. This will not be easy. The council does not want this question answered. They have spent 30 years avoiding it. When we push forward, there will be resistance. There will be consequences for both of us. I understand, Zithkara said. His voice was steady despite his obvious nervousness. But I am a scientist. Avoiding difficult questions because they are uncomfortable is not science. It is cowardice, Lisa nodded with respect. This young Velkrin had more courage than many humans she knew. Then we do this properly. We follow every protocol. We document everything. We make sure that when we present our findings, nobody can dismiss them as reckless or unscientific. They agreed to meet at the research facility on Haven 7, a neutral colony world where interspecies research happened. It would take Lisa 2 days to arrange travel and clearances. That would give her time to think about what she was starting. As Zithkara walked away, Lisa stood alone in the now empty amphitheater. She thought about her grandfather, who had been one of the first humans to make contact with alien species. He had told her stories about those early days, how nervous everyone had been, how careful Earth had been to seem harmless and friendly. We were afraid, her grandfather had said, that if we showed them how tough we really are, they would see us as monsters instead of friends. Lisa had been young then. She had not understood. But now she did. Earth had been hiding its true nature for 3 decades, playing small, pretending to be weaker than they were, all to avoid scaring the other species who had welcomed them into the galactic community. But hiding the truth had not made things better. It had only created more suspicion and fear. Aliens still whispered about humans. They still kept their distance. They still wondered what secrets Earth was hiding. Maybe it was time to stop hiding. Maybe honesty was the only path forward, even if that honesty made people uncomfortable. Lisa left the amphitheater and headed to her quarters. She had a meeting with the Oversight Committee tomorrow. She needed to prepare. She needed to choose her words carefully. Most importantly, she needed to decide how far she was willing to go to pursue the truth. The answer came to her as she looked out at the stars through her window. Those stars represented thousands of worlds, thousands of species, thousands of different ways of living and thinking and surviving. Earth was just one world among many, but it was her world. And its story deserved to be told honestly, without shame or apology. She would go to the meeting tomorrow. She would face the council's questions and concerns, and she would make them understand that the forbidden question was not a threat to galactic peace. It was an opportunity for genuine understanding, and understanding was the only foundation strong enough to build real trust upon. Lisa sat down at her desk and began writing her report. Not the simple observation report she had been assigned to write, but a different kind of report, one that laid out exactly why Zithkara's question deserved a proper answer, one that explained why hiding the truth had never really protected anyone. It took her most of the night to write. When she finally finished, the station's artificial sun was beginning to brighten, simulating morning. Lisa read through her report one last time. It was clear. It was honest. It was probably going to get her in serious trouble. She sent it to the Oversight Committee with a simple message attached. Some questions cannot be avoided forever. This is one of them. Then she went to bed knowing that when she woke up, everything would be different. The forbidden question had been asked out loud. And now, one way or another, the galaxy was going to hear the answer. The Council's Oversight Committee met in a secure room deep inside Kepler 9's main building. Lisa sat alone at a curved table. 7 representatives from different species faced her. Their forms ranged from the crystal-like archons to the huge seal-shaped druven. Each species looked different, but they all shared one expression: disapproval. The archon representative named Sorkal spoke first. His voice came from his crystal body, artificial and cold. Commander Hayes, you know that discussing the Deathworld classification system with non-council species is not allowed under Section 447 of the Diplomatic Protocol Charter. I discuss nothing classified, Lisa replied in a calm voice. A researcher asked me a question. I said it was worth answering. That is all. The implication, a Druvan representative said, her translator crackling, is that you plan to answer it. This creates problems for us. Lisa sat up straight. With respect, representatives, I have read the protocols many times during my flight here. Nothing says that explaining Earth's survival is classified information. In fact, most of the data is public. Anyone can find it in biology databases across the Council networks. Sorkal's crystal body pulsed with a red color. Lisa had learned this meant he was annoyed. The data exists separately. Connecting these pieces of information into one story creates a security risk. A security risk to whom? Lisa asked directly. Nobody spoke. The silence filled the room like a heavy weight. Finally, the Velcrin representative spoke. Her name was Theshimora, and she was an elder among her people. Her voice was softer than the others, more thoughtful. Commander Hayes, do you understand why the Council put restrictions on Deathworld discussions 3 decades ago? I know the official reason, Lisa said. To prevent panic and unfair treatment against species from dangerous worlds. And the unofficial reason? Theshimora asked. Lisa met the elder's bug-like eyes. Because the truth makes everyone uncomfortable. Theshimora's antenna dipped forward. It was a gesture of agreement. Exactly right. The Galactic Council has existed for 12,000 standard years. In that time, we have found 2,147 worlds that could develop intelligent life. Of those worlds, only 23 are classified as Class 10 or higher death worlds. Of those 23 worlds, only one has produced a civilization that can travel between stars. Earth, Lisa said. Earth, Theshimora confirmed. Every other species in this council evolved on what your people call garden worlds. Low gravity, gentle weather, few predators, lots of resources. We evolved slowly and carefully. We had time to develop philosophy and art and science without always facing extinction. Then humanity arrived. We realized that everything we thought we knew about survival was wrong. The Archon representative cut in with a sharp tone. This discussion is not appropriate for— No, Theshimora said firmly. The commander is correct. The data is public. What we fear is not the information itself. We fear what conclusions others might draw from it. Or she turned back to Lisa. What did the researcher want to know? He wanted to know why we survived when science says we should not have, Lisa answered. And what would you tell him? Lisa took a breath. This was the important moment. She could back down now and remain a good soldier. Or she could tell the truth and accept what came next. I would tell him that the scientific consensus is based on a wrong idea, she said. The Council's biology models say that harsh environments always lead to extinction. But Earth's history proves the opposite. Harsh environments do not kill species. They make them stronger. Every ice age, every mass extinction, every disaster made our ancestors tougher and more able to adapt. We did not survive despite Earth being a death world. We survived because of it. The room went silent again. The Druvan representative spoke, her voice heavy. Do you understand what you are suggesting, Commander? You are saying that suffering and hardship are good for evolution. I am not suggesting anything, Lisa said. I am stating a fact we can observe. Humans have faster reactions than most species because our world has faster predators. We have stronger immune systems because our world has more different diseases. We have greater endurance because our gravity is higher. These are not accidents. They are adaptations. Sorkal's crystal form flashed red. And this is exactly why the protocols exist. You are one step away from saying that humanity is better than other species. No, Lisa said firmly. I am saying we are different. The Council evolved in one type of environment. We evolved in another. Neither is better. Both are valid. But pretending those differences do not exist, or that they do not matter, hurts real scientific inquiry. Theshimora's antenna waved thoughtfully. The young researcher Zithkara has filed a formal request to study human adaptation mechanisms. The request came to my office this morning. Lisa's heart sank. He should not have done that. On the contrary, Theshimora said, he did exactly what a good scientist should do. He asked a question and looked for answers. The question now is whether we as the Council are brave enough to let him find those answers. Another representative spoke up. This one was a Nephori whose gaseous body glowed with uncertain colors. If we allow this research, what happens when the findings are published? What if it confirms that humans are significantly more capable of survival than other species? Then we will know the truth, Lisa said simply. Is that not better than living with comfortable lies? Comfortable lies keep the peace, Sorkal said coldly. Uncomfortable truths start wars. Only if we let them, Lisa argued. Only if we treat differences as threats instead of opportunities. The Council has lasted 12,000 years because you learned to work together despite your differences. Adding humans to that cooperation should not break it. Unless you never really trusted each other in the first place. The words hung in the air. Lisa knew she had pushed hard, maybe too hard, but she was tired of dancing around the truth. Theshimura looked at the other representatives. I propose we allow the research under strict conditions. Zithkara can study human adaptations, but his methods must follow all ethical guidelines. His findings will be reviewed by this committee before publication. Commander Hayes will serve as the human liaison to ensure cooperation and transparency. You want to reward her insubordination? Sorkal demanded. I want to channel her honesty into something productive, Theshimura replied. We can either fight this question, or we can answer it properly. Fighting it will only make people more suspicious. Answering it might actually build the trust we claim to want. The vote was close. 4 in favor, 3 against. Just barely enough to approve the research. As the meeting ended, Theshimura approached Lisa privately. You made enemies today, Commander. Sorkal and his allies will not forget this. I know, Lisa said. Was it worth it? The Velkrin elder asked. Lisa thought about Zithkara's question. She thought about all the human graduates who had walked across that stage while aliens watched in fearful silence. She thought about her grandfather's stories of hiding Earth's true strength to avoid seeming like monsters. Yes, Lisa said finally, because my people are tired of apologizing for surviving, and your people deserve to know the truth about who they are sharing the galaxy with. Theshimura's antenna waved in what might have been approval or concern. Then let us hope the truth is something we can all live with. Lisa left the meeting and immediately contacted Zithkara. They arranged to meet at the research facility on Haven 7 in 1 week. That would give them time to prepare proper testing protocols and gather the necessary equipment. But as Lisa walked back to her quarters, she noticed someone following her. When she turned, she saw Kellen Price, the human intelligence operative. He looked angry. You just made things very complicated, Kellen said without greeting. I made things honest, Lisa corrected. Honesty is not always the best policy in diplomacy, Kellen replied. Sometimes careful silence is what keeps everyone safe. Safe from what? Lisa challenged. From knowing the truth about each other. That does not sound like safety. That sounds like fear. Kellen stepped closer, his voice low. You do not understand what you have started. The Council has been balanced on a knife's edge for decades. Humanity's admission was controversial. Many species still do not trust us. If your research proves that we are as dangerous as they fear, it could undo everything we have built. Or it could finally establish real trust based on honesty instead of careful lies, Lisa said. Did you ever think of that? I have spent my entire career building bridges between humanity and the Council, Kellen said. His voice was tight with frustration. You are about to burn those bridges down. No, Lisa said. I am about to test whether those bridges were ever real in the first place. If they collapse because of honest data, then they were built on sand anyway. Kellen shook his head. You are making a mistake, Commander. A big one. And when it falls apart, do not say I did not warn you. He walked away, leaving Lisa alone in the corridor. She felt a moment of doubt. What if Kellen was right? What if her pursuit of truth really did damage human-alien relations? What if she was being reckless instead of brave? But then she remembered Zithkara's question. Simple and direct. If Deathworlds kill all life, why does Earth still send graduates? The answer mattered. Not just to satisfy curiosity, but because it spoke to. The research facility on Haven 7 was impressive. It had labs designed for different species with different needs. Some rooms had high gravity. Others had low. Some had thick air. Others had thin. Temperature and light could be adjusted for each experiment. It was the perfect place to study differences between species. Zithkara arrived 3 days before Lisa. He used the time to set up equipment and design tests. When Lisa finally arrived, she found him in the main lab, surrounded by screens showing data and charts. "I have designed a series of tests," Zithkara explained. His translator turned his clicks into excited words. "Nothing that will hurt anyone. Just comparison studies between human performance and normal council species abilities." "You know that humans have been tested many times before," Lisa said. She looked at the test plans on her datapad. "Yes, but always alone. No one has done direct comparisons under controlled conditions. The Council's data is scattered across thousands of individual studies. I want to bring it all together and run new tests." The first test was simple, a standard obstacle course used in Council military training. Lisa watched as a Velcrin soldier named Kethnor ran the course first. He completed it in the expected time with normal performance. Then a human volunteer, a young Marine named Kyle Rogers, ran the same course. Kyle finished in half the time. Zithkara's antenna quivered as he looked at the sensor data. His reaction time is 40% faster than Kethnor's. His muscle efficiency is extraordinary. Even with the facility's gravity being only 0.8 Earth standard, his performance is beyond all predictions. "Try the course at Earth standard gravity," Lisa suggested. They did. Kyle's time barely changed. He moved through the obstacles with easy confidence. Kethnor tried the course at 1.0 G and collapsed after the third obstacle. His body simply could not handle the extra weight. Over the next few weeks, the tests grew more complex. They tested endurance by having subjects run for hours. They tested problem-solving under stress by giving puzzles while loud noises played. They tested recovery from fake injuries. They tested pattern recognition and the ability to adapt to new environments. Every test told the same story. Humans were not just different from other council species. They were built for survival in ways that garden world species were not. The endurance test was particularly striking. A Druvan researcher could maintain steady activity for about 3 hours before needing rest. A human could go for 8 hours and still function well. When pushed to their limits, the Druvan needed 12 hours to recover. The human needed 6. The problem-solving test showed something interesting too. Under calm conditions, many species performed better than humans. The Archons were especially good at logic puzzles. But when stress was added, loud sounds, flashing lights, time pressure, human performance stayed steady while other species' performance dropped sharply. "It is like your brains are designed to work under pressure," Zithkara observed. "Other species think best when calm and safe. Humans think best when threatened." "Not best," Lisa corrected. "But we stay functional. Earth taught us that thinking clearly during a crisis is more useful than thinking perfectly during peace, but it was the disease resistance test that changed everything." Zithkara had gotten samples of various diseases common across council worlds, nothing dangerous to humans according to medical databases, but potentially deadly to other species. He wanted to see how quickly human immune systems could identify and respond to completely new threats. The test used proper safety rules. A harmless fake disease was introduced to blood samples from various species, including humans. The Velcrin sample showed immune response after 6 hours. The Druvan sample took 4 hours. The Archon sample showed no response at all, as expected. Because crystal-based life does not have immune systems like biological species. The human sample identified the threat and began making antibodies in 47 minutes. "This is impossible," Zithkara muttered. He ran the test 3 more times. Same result. The disease is completely artificial. The human immune system should have no reference for it, yet it is adapting in real time. "That is what our immune systems do," Lisa said quietly. "They learn, constantly. Earth throws so many diseases at us that our bodies evolved to be learning machines." Zithkara turned to her. His compound eyes reflected the lab's lights. "Commander Hayes, do you understand what this means? If human immune systems can adapt this quickly to new threats, then humans could potentially survive on worlds that would kill any other council species within days." "Yes," Lisa said simply. "We could. This is not just interesting biology, Commander. This is a strategic resource of huge value." And there it was, the real reason the Council had kept the Deathworld paradox quiet for so long. You are thinking about colonization, Lisa said. I am thinking about survival, Zithkara corrected. The Council controls 847 garden worlds, but there are thousands of worlds that remain empty because they are too harsh, too dangerous, too difficult for garden world species to live on. Worlds rich in resources that we cannot access, but humans could. And that scares the Council, Lisa realized. Because if humans can live where no one else can, that makes us too valuable to ignore and too dangerous to fully trust. Zithkara's antenna drooped. I am beginning to understand why this research was discouraged. That evening, Lisa received a message from Kellen Price. He wanted to meet. The message said it was urgent. They met in a secure room. Just the two of them. Kellen was tall and had broad shoulders. He had the look of someone who spent years in military service before joining intelligence work. You need to stop this research, Kellen said. He did not waste time with greetings. Why? Lisa asked. Because you are proving what the Council has feared for 3 decades, that humans are the galaxy's ultimate survivors. And when you prove that completely, do you know what happens next? Tell me. Every species in the Council will have to make a choice. They can either accept humans as equals, which means accepting that their entire evolution made them soft and weak compared to us, or they can treat us as a threat, which means isolation, restrictions, may be worse. So your solution is to hide the truth forever? Lisa challenged. My solution is to introduce it slowly, carefully over generations, not to push it in everyone's face with flashy experiments and published research papers. The truth does not care about our timeline, Lisa said. It exists whether we admit it or not. Kellen leaned forward. Lisa, I have spent my entire career trying to build trust between humanity and the Council. This research could destroy that in weeks. Or it could finally create an honest foundation for that trust, Lisa countered. We have been tiptoeing around this for 30 years. Where has it gotten us? We are still the newcomers. Still the odd ones out. Still whispered about in hallways. Maybe it is time to stop apologizing for surviving. You are making a mistake, Kellen warned. His voice was cold now. Maybe, Lisa agreed. But it is an honest mistake. And I would rather be honestly wrong than dishonestly silent. Kellen stood up. Then we have nothing more to discuss. He walked to the door, then paused. When this falls apart, Commander, remember that you were warned. Multiple times. He left without waiting for a response. Lisa sat alone in the room for a long time. She thought about what Kellen had said. He was not wrong about the risks. Publishing this research would shake the foundation of human-council relations. Some species would react with fear, others with anger. Some might even call for restricting human expansion or limiting human involvement in council affairs. But hiding the truth had not made things better. For 3 decades, humanity had tried to seem harmless and non-threatening, and it had not worked. Aliens still feared them, still kept their distance, still wondered what humans were hiding. Maybe it was time to try something different. Maybe honesty, even uncomfortable honesty, was the only way forward. Lisa returned to the lab where Zithkara was still working. He looked up when she entered. Everything all right, Commander? He asked. No, Lisa said honestly. But it will be. Are you ready for what comes next? The publication? Zithkara's antenna quivered nervously. Yes. Once we publish this data, everything changes. For both of us. People who were neutral will take sides. Some will support us. Others will oppose us. Your career could be damaged. Mine definitely will be. Zithkara was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke softly. My mentor once told me that the job of a scientist is not to make people comfortable. It is to reveal truth even when that truth is difficult, especially when it is difficult. Wise mentor, Lisa said. She was Velcrin like me. She studied Earth for 10 years before humans joined the Council. Her research was classified and buried because it made too many people uncomfortable. She died never seeing her work acknowledged. Zithkara looked at Lisa directly. I will not let that happen to this research. The galaxy needs to know the truth about Deathworlds and survival. If that makes me unpopular, so be it. Lisa felt a surge of respect for this young alien scientist. He had more courage than most humans she knew. Then we do this right, Lisa said. We make our paper so thorough, so well documented, so scientifically sound that no one can dismiss it. We give them truth they cannot ignore. Agreed, Zithkara said. They worked together for the next 2 months, running more tests, gathering more data, checking and double-checking ever. The response to the paper was immediate and divided. By Wednesday, it had been downloaded 200 million times. It became the most discussed document in council history. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone took a side. Some species saw it as a breakthrough. Finally, someone had explained the mysterious humans who came from their terrifying world. These were the scientists and academics, the curious minds who valued knowledge above comfort. They praised Zithkara's work and called for more research into Deathworld adaptations. Others saw it as a threat assessment, a detailed breakdown of humanity's advantages that read like a military report. These were the security officials and politicians. They thought in terms of power and strategic balance. They worried about what humans could do with their superior survival abilities, and some saw it as proof of their deepest fears, that humanity was not just different but dangerous. These were the extremists and the fearful. They called Zithkara a traitor for helping humans seem more powerful. They demanded restrictions on human expansion and influence. Lisa watched the reactions flood in from her quarters on Haven 7. News feeds ran constant updates. Opinion pieces argued back and forth. Debates raged across every platform. Some called Zithkara a visionary. Others called him reckless. A few angry voices called him much worse. "I have created a firestorm," Zithkara said when they met the next day. His antenna drooped with exhaustion. He had been awake for 40 hours straight, answering questions and defending his methods. "You created a conversation," Lisa corrected, "one that needed to happen. The Council's Oversight Committee has summoned both of us. Again." Of course they have. This time the meeting was very different. The chamber was packed with representatives from dozens of species, far more than the normal 7-member committee. Lisa and Zithkara sat together at the center of the room, surrounded by a half-circle of alien dignitaries. Sorkal, the Archon representative, spoke first. His artificial voice echoed through the chamber. "You have broken the spirit of the protocols, even if not the exact words. You have created panic and conflict throughout council space." "I have published scientific findings," Zithkara replied calmly, "which is my right and duty as a researcher." "Your findings paint humanity as superior to other species," a Druvan representative accused. "No," Lisa interrupted. "His findings paint humanity as adapted to different circumstances. There is a big difference." "Explain that difference," Theshamora requested. The Velkrin elder seemed genuinely curious rather than hostile. Lisa stood up, facing the chamber. "Every species here evolved to survive in your environment. The Druvan are masters of water engineering. Because your homeworld is 90% ocean, the Archons process information faster than biological species, because your crystal structure allows for different thinking patterns. The Velkrin have compound eyes that see colors invisible to humans. Each of you has advantages shaped by your world's challenges." "And humanity's advantages?" Sorkal asked coldly. "We are resilient," Lisa said simply. "Earth threw everything at us. Ice ages, plagues, predators, climate changes, volcanic winters, asteroid impacts. Any one of those events should have killed us. But each time, some of us survived, and those survivors passed on whatever traits let them endure. Generation after generation for millions of years, Earth selected for one thing above all else: the ability to keep going when everything says you should quit." She gestured to the assembled representatives. "You all evolved on worlds that were stable enough to allow slow, careful development. You had the luxury of specializing, of developing complex cultures and philosophies without constant threat of death. And that is wonderful. That is what let you build this council, this civilization that spans 1,000 worlds, but it also means you never had to develop what humans have: the ability to survive anywhere under any conditions, no matter how bad things get. And that makes you dangerous," Sorkal stated flatly. "No," Lisa replied. "That makes us partners. Because all those worlds you cannot colonize, all those resources you cannot access, all those challenges you cannot overcome, with your specialized adaptations, we can help with those. Not because we are better, but because we are different in useful ways." A Nephori delegate spoke, their gaseous form pulsing with amber colors. "You propose a working relationship where each species contributes what they do best." "I propose honesty," Lisa said. "For 3 decades we have been dancing around the truth because everyone was afraid of what it meant. But the truth is simple. Humanity survived a death world, and that survival gave us tools that the rest of the galaxy does not have. Rather than hiding that or being ashamed of it or pretending it does not matter, why not use it? Why not work together? combining humanity's toughness with the Council's knowledge and resources. Because we do not know if we can trust you, Sorkal said bluntly. The chamber fell silent. Finally, someone had said it out loud. The real fear that everyone had been thinking but not saying. Lisa nodded slowly. You are right. You do not know if you can trust us. Just like we do not know if we can trust you. Trust is not given freely. It is earned. And we cannot earn it by hiding who we are. We can only earn it by being honest about our strengths and our weaknesses. And then proving through our actions that we choose cooperation over conquest. Theshimora's antenna waved thoughtfully. The human suggests a trial period. A demonstration of good faith. What did you have in mind? The Druvan representative asked. Lisa pulled up data on her device and projected it to the chamber's displays. There is a world, Kepler 442b, Class 11 Deathworld, rich in rare minerals that the Council needs. The Druvan tried to colonize it 3 months ago. 89% of your people died before you gave up. The Velkrin tried 6 weeks later. 94% casualties. It has been abandoned for 15 years because no one can survive there. You want to colonize it? Sorkal asked with clear doubt in his voice. No, Lisa said. I want us to colonize it together. A joint human council expedition. Humans handle the environmental challenges. Council species provide technical expertise and infrastructure. We prove that cooperation works by doing something neither of us could do alone. The chamber erupted in discussion. Arguments flew back and forth in a dozen languages. Translators struggled to keep up. Some representatives looked interested. Others looked horrified. A few looked calculating as if measuring risks and benefits. Lisa let them argue. This was how the Council made decisions. Through debate and discussion, she had made her proposal. Now she had to wait and see if they had the courage to accept it. After an hour, Theshimora called for order. This proposal requires serious consideration. We will adjourn and meet again in 1 standard week to vote on whether to authorize this joint expedition. As the chamber emptied, many representatives gave Lisa long looks. Some seemed respectful. Others seemed suspicious. A few seemed actively hostile. Zithkar approached her as the last delegates filed out. You realize you have just volunteered both of us for a mission that could kill us. Only if we fail, Lisa said with a slight smile. And I am from a death world. We do not fail. We adapt. I am from a garden world, Zithkara reminded her. We are not so confident about survival. Then it is a good thing we are partners, Lisa said. I will handle the confidence. You handle the science. Together, maybe we will prove that the forbidden question has a pretty good answer after all. Over the next week, Lisa prepared for the possibility that the vote would pass. She reviewed data on Kepler 442b, high gravity, extreme weather, dangerous native life. It was not as bad as Earth, but it was close enough to kill most Council species quickly. She also received messages. Hundreds of them. Some were supportive. Fellow humans and sympathetic aliens wished her luck. Others were threatening. Anonymous voices promising that if she got Council species killed, there would be consequences. Kellen sent a single message. I hope you know what you are doing, Lisa replied with equal brevity. So do I. The vote happened on schedule. The chamber was even more crowded than before. Representatives from every major species packed the room. The galaxy was watching, waiting to see if the Council would take this risk. Theshimora presented the proposal clearly. A joint expedition to Kepler 442b, 6 months duration, equal numbers of humans and Council species. The goal was to establish a permanent outpost and extract enough minerals to prove the venture was economically viable. The debate lasted 3 hours. Those in favor argued that humanity's abilities were a resource that should be used, not feared. Those against argued that the risk was too great and that failure would damage Council unity. Finally, the vote was called. The result appeared on screens throughout the chamber, in percent in favor. 49% against the narrowest possible margin, but enough. The expedition was approved. Lisa felt relief and fear in equal measure. They had gotten what they asked for. Now they had to deliver. If this mission failed, if Council species died on Kepler 442b, it would confirm everyone's worst fears about humanity. It would set back human-Council relations by decades, maybe permanently. But if they succeeded, if they proved that cooperation between Deathworld and Garden World species could work, it would change everything. As Lisa left the chamber, Theshimura stopped her. You have been given a great opportunity, Commander. Also a great burden. The galaxy will be watching. The expedition team came together over 3 months. 50 humans carefully chosen for various skills. Engineers, biologists, doctors, geologists, weather experts, and 50 council species members, representing the same jobs but bringing different views and techniques. Sithkara was the chief biologist. Lisa was appointed joint commander alongside a Druvan military officer named Kalneth. From their first meeting, Kalneth made it clear she thought the entire expedition was a waste of time and lives. Humans will die, Kalneth said bluntly during their planning session. Her seal-like face somehow showed annoyance. Then council members will die trying to save humans. Then the mission will fail, and we will have proven only that Deathworlds kill all, just as we always knew. Then why did you volunteer? Lisa asked. Because someone needs to document the failure properly. It might as well be me. The journey to Kepler 442b took 6 weeks. During that time, Lisa insisted on joint training sessions. Humans taught council species about survival techniques. How to find water in hostile places, how to build shelter with few resources, how to keep spirits up when things were terrible. Council species taught humans about advanced air analysis, quantum resource scanning, and techniques that could make hostile environments slightly less hostile. Slowly, grudgingly, the 2 groups began to work as a team rather than 2 separate groups sharing a ship. They arrived at Kepler 442b on a Tuesday. From orbit, the planet looked beautiful. Blue oceans, green land, white clouds. But the readings told a different story. Gravity 1.6 times Earth standard, air pressure changing wildly due to extreme weather, native plants that made toxic spores, native animals that made Earth's predators look gentle, temperature swings of 40 degrees between day and night. This, Kyle Rogers said cheerfully, is going to be rough. They landed in a valley near the equator, where conditions were slightly less terrible. The plan was simple. Establish a base camp, survive for 6 months, extract enough minerals to prove the venture was worth the cost. The first week was brutal. 2 council members collapsed from the gravity within hours. They had to be put on medical support. A Velcrin researcher was nearly killed by a local predator that moved faster than his reflexes could track. A human engineer broke her arm when equipment failed and a support beam fell, but they adapted. The humans built gravity assist suits for the council species, making the high-G environment manageable. Zithkara developed a warning system that could detect the local predators' heat before they got close. The Druvan engineers designed a medical bay that could treat both crystal-based and carbon-based injuries. By the 2nd week, they had stopped losing ground and started making progress. By the 4th week, they had a working base camp with stable power, water recycling, and food production. By the 8th week, they had begun mineral extraction operations. Everything seemed to be going well. The team was functioning. The mission was on track. Some council members even started to enjoy the challenge. Then came the storm. On Earth, they would call it a hurricane. But that word did not capture how terrible Kepler 442b's storm really was. Winds over 300 kilometers per hour. Rain so thick that you could not see anything. Lightning struck the ground every few seconds, each strike powerful enough to melt steel. The storm hit without much warning. 1 hour they had clear skies. The next hour the world turned into chaos. We need to evacuate, Kalneth insisted, her voice tight with fear. The base cannot withstand this. We will die here. Lisa checked the structural sensors. The numbers were not great, but they were not terrible either. The base will hold, but we need everyone working together to make the weak points stronger. You are making a mistake, Kalneth warned. This is pride talking. This is the human inability to admit defeat. No, Lisa said quietly, meeting the Druvan officer's eyes. This is the human refusal to give up when there is still a chance. There is a difference, and if you would rather be right about us failing than be alive when we succeed, that is your choice. But I am not leaving this base, and I am not leaving anyone in this expedition. For a long moment, Kalneth stared at her. Then slowly, the Druvan officer nodded. Tell me what to do. For the next 18 hours, the entire expedition worked as one. Humans went into the storm to physically strengthen external structures. Their stronger bodies could handle the wind and rain better than other species. Velcrin engineers used their better pattern recognition to predict where lightning would strike next, directing shield placement. Druvan technicians optimized power systems, squeezing every bit of efficiency from the generators. Archon scientists calculated structural stress in real time, telling everyone exactly where to focus their efforts. The wind howled. The rain pounded. The lightning flashed. But the base held. When the storm finally passed, everyone was exhausted. But they were alive. The base was still standing. Damaged, yes. Held together by quick repairs and sheer determination, yes. But standing, Kalnith found Lisa in the command center, looking at damage reports. The Druvan officer stood quietly for a moment before speaking. "I was wrong," Kalnith said simply.
"Not about humans being dangerous."
"You are dangerous, but I was wrong about what that danger means." "Oh?" Lisa asked, too tired to be offended. "I thought your toughness made you a threat to other species. But watching you during the storm, I understood something. You did not survive because you are strong. You survived because you refused to let anyone die alone. Every time a council member struggled, a human was there. Every time a human was overwhelmed, a council member helped. You are dangerous because you make others want to survive with you." Lisa smiled despite her exhaustion. "That is the best compliment I have ever received." The expedition stayed for the full 6 months. By the end, they had extracted enough minerals to fund 3 more colonies. They had established a permanent outpost that could support future operations. More importantly, they had proven that cooperation between Deathworld and Gardenworld species was not just possible. It was better than either could achieve alone. The return to Council space felt different. News of the expedition's success had spread throughout the galaxy. The forbidden question had a public answer now. Earth still sent graduates because humanity had learned that surviving was not about being strong enough to stand alone. It was about being strong enough to help others stand with you. Zithkara published another paper. This one was titled "Working Together: How Deathworld Toughness and Gardenworld Innovation Create New Opportunities." It was downloaded 200 million times in the first week. Lisa was promoted to captain. She was given command of the Council's new colonial integration program. Her job was to find other harsh worlds that could be settled through human council cooperation. Kellen Price, the intelligence operative who had warned her against pursuing the truth, sent her a brief message. "You were right. I was scared. Thank you for being braver than me." But the moment that mattered most to Lisa came 3 months after their return, another graduation ceremony at the Intergalactic Academy. This time, when human students walked across the stage, the alien species did not fall silent. They cheered, not out of pity or morbid curiosity, but out of genuine respect and, Lisa dared to hope, friendship. A young Nefori student approached her after the ceremony. Their gaseous form pulsed with curious colors. "Captain Hayes," they said through their translator, "I want to study human adaptation techniques. I want to learn how to help my people survive in harsher places. Would you teach me?" Lisa thought about the forbidden question, about Zithkara's courage in asking it, about the expedition that had nearly killed them all but had instead proven something beautiful. That asking difficult questions and accepting uncomfortable answers was the only way to truly move forward. "Yes," Lisa said, "I would be honored to teach you. But first, let me ask you a question. Do you know why Earth still sends graduates?" The Neferi student pulsed with thoughtful colors. "Because graduates represent hope. They represent the belief that the next generation will do better than the last." "Exactly," Lisa said. "And that is not just a human thing. That is something all of us share. We all want to believe that survival is not just about lasting through hard times. It is about building something worth surviving for." She looked around the hall at the dozens of species celebrating their young. "Earth still sends graduates for the same reason every world does. Because we believe the future is worth reaching for, even if the journey is hard. Especially if the journey is hard. And now that we are all reaching together, maybe we will finally get there." The Neferi student pulsed with warm golden colors. Agreement, hope. "Then let us reach," the student said. Lisa smiled. "Yes, let us reach together." In the months and years that followed, the galaxy changed. Not overnight, not easily, but steadily. More joint expeditions launched. More harsh worlds were settled. More species learned to work together, combining their different strengths into something greater than any could achieve alone. The forbidden question became just another question, one with a clear answer that everyone could see and understand. Earth still sent graduates because humanity had survived their death world, not through strength alone, but through adaptability, determination, and the refusal to let anyone face challenges alone. And the council learned something too. That differences were